Grace and peace to you from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. You know I'm never at a loss for words when it comes to preaching the message of our Lord, or when it comes to talking about how fantastic it is to be part of this incredible congregation. Over the next 15 minutes, you're going to hear the results of the work of the Council, the Finance Committee, and the Strategic Planning Task Force. The speakers will remind you of some of the activities and achievements that we currently enjoy thanks to your faithful support of this awesome church. They'll describe the financial forecasts and the recommended actions needed to assure that the church continues to be a beacon to members and to guests for many years to come. This video, along with a series of question and answer sessions offered in the sanctuary and online, are all intended to provide you the opportunity to be well informed prior to the special meeting of the congregation on June 9th. My blessings to you all.
In 2022, as the world was coming out of the depths of the COVID pandemic, the Church Council chose to initiate a growth task force. Last year, that blossomed into the Growth and Engagement Committee and a church staff role, the Growth and Engagement Director, held by Nina Maroney. The in-person numbers tell a really good story. If you're lucky enough to frequently attend worship at our church, you've experienced that the pews are regularly a little more crowded than before. And one of the numbers that we've only recently been able to start tracking is online viewership. We will add a section to this chart to separately show both in-person attendance and online participation. Excellent worship services, including preaching of God's love by Pastor Blythe and superior music led by our Minister of Music, Michael Bodnick, are certainly among the things that keep people coming to this church. Pastor Ken doesn't just preach on Sundays, of course. He leads a Bible study and education classes and provides written and video updates that are a blessing to all of us. And Michael doesn't just play music on Sundays. He teaches and rehearses the choir, the handbell ensemble, the choral scholars, and various guest instrumentalists. One of the truths that many of us have learned over the years is that a person's first visit to a church is not always for worship. Frequently, they come through the door first for some kind of event. And we have tremendous music events that are an ideal way for all of us to invite our friends and neighbors to come for an enjoyable performance and begin to decide maybe this is a place they want to come back to again.
Our community service ministry reaches out through numerous local, national, and international organizations to help those in need. Your support for volunteer activities and donations to these drives helps these groups make the world a slightly better place. We also have a very active group of quilters who send warmth around the globe via Lutheran World Relief. And under the direction of Lutheran Services of Florida, we have a very busy refugee support team. We have expanded our Christian education classes, including a highly attended curriculum for Christians and Jews to learn about each other's faith. And our Women's Fellowship and Ministries has a busy schedule with Bible study, book group discussions, and special events. I love this photo from our recent spring tea. It was a lot of work for the team to run it, and it was well worth it.
Years ago, church technology meant how do you type and copy the Sunday bulletin. Now it means the internet and social media. It means the ability to join in worship from wherever you are and the ability to join in church meetings wherever you are. I've been a member of the church for over 40 years, and I still go back to Ohio every summer. But that doesn't mean I lose touch. Jan and I watch worship on Sundays, and now that we can track how many others are watching online, I guess I'll be watching with over 100 friends. I love our meditation garden, a feature not many churches have. It's been restored after the saltwater damage last year, and it's beautiful. And I'm proud that our church helps the local community by offering our facilities for use by Alcoholics Anonymous and various civic organizations. Our church is on a good path.
You know how active SAKLC is, and as you know, it doesn't come for free. Your generosity helped us achieve our budget of over $1.1 million in 2023. and set the stage for a budget of over $1.2 million this year, it will take similar budget growth in the future, simply to keep doing what we've been doing. 2023 also came with a wake-up call. We saw numerous expensive repair and replacement bills, sometimes due to weather hazards and sometimes due to the aging systems. The council hired an expert to assess the future costs of maintaining our facilities for decades to come. The study points out that to ensure our 25 to 50-year-old facilities are still beautiful when they are 50 to 75 years old, we need to set aside over $180,000 each year. The maintenance costs forecast in the reserve study and the time which they will occur are estimates. What we do know for sure is that the expenditures will be required at some point in the future. That is why we need to plan now, so we do not pass along an unfunded maintenance or repair bill to those who come after, or require them to incur expensive debt in order to solve the shortfall.
A way to look at our future financial needs is to assume the church brings in the same money as this year and does the same activities as this year. Then look at what new costs will be required simply to do those same things. The world has changed. We can't operate the church as cheaply as we used to. It's going to take a budget increase of around 9% each year just to stay even. And as reflected in the capital reserve study, to be prepared for future maintenance bills, we need to set aside more than $180,000 every year. Being cautious as I am, I also need to say that this forecast doesn't include money to replace the loss of any current large donors or to pay for new initiatives. The chart shows the new money required between now and 2030 to address budget growth and capital reserves for facility maintenance, and does not provide for the funding of any new initiatives or personnel. Yes, it shows that we need over $2 million during that time frame, and the need continues to grow past 2030.
We have a wonderful church, and we all want to keep it that way. Our focus in 2024 is a financial strategy that assures we can maintain the status quo and add new initiatives where the opportunity presents itself. That includes stewardship, legacy giving, and capital reserves. Many of us grew up expecting there to be a stewardship campaign every year. Understanding the needs of the church and determining how you can utilize your gifts of time, talent, and treasure is something we have come to expect. St. Armands Key Lutheran Church prepared a stewardship campaign in 2019, ready to launch in 2020. The pandemic put a lot of things on hold, including that campaign. And coming out of the pandemic, the council wisely recommended focusing on growth before focusing on stewardship. We have been blessed with a very small number of large donors who provide the lion's share of the operating budget today. We ask for your support in requesting the council to activate the dormant stewardship committee. For those of you who don't know a lot about St. Armands Key Lutheran Church Foundation, I'm happy to say that in the last 12 months, the foundation has provided over $100,000 in grants to the church. The foundation oversees 2 different funds, and grants from both funds were provided to improve our community efforts and church operations. We ask for your support in directing the council to work with the foundation trustees to encourage contributions that will provide perpetual benefits. The third element is to create a church capital fund for long-term maintenance and repairs for our facility. As shown in the capital reserve study, we need to set aside approximately $180,000 each year for this purpose. You will hear in a moment about the options that were considered for the church house at 25 North Washington. The result is we recommend the house be sold with the proceeds being placed into the church capital fund. While that certainly doesn't address all of the capital needs, it certainly provides a solid head start.
St. Armands Key Lutheran Church purchased a home in 1996 for $220,000. The house was used as a guest house for a Scholars in Residence program and a rental home for Pastor Ken and his wife, Amy. Pastor and Amy chose to take advantage of the benefits of home ownership and moved out of the house towards the end of last year. The council and others have worked with a team of experts to analyze what could be done with the house. The primary options evaluated include renting the house, retaining the house without renting it, upgrading the house and selling it, and selling the house as is. When we got into the details of renting the house, we learned that between the upgrades needed, the 10-year maintenance costs, and the taxes that would be due, the rental would lose nearly $50,000 in the first year and be basically a break-even in future years. And looking at retaining the property without renting it, it would consume capital, staff resources, maintenance, and given the residential zoning restrictions, would likely never be approved for a non-residential use. Several experienced real estate experts shared their opinion that upgrading the house before offering it for sale would not necessarily increase the valuation of the property. The comparative estimate is that the property as is or with upgrades to the house would justify an initial asking price of $1,995,000.
When looking at the positives and negatives to selling the property, the obvious benefit is the receipt of net proceeds to help offset capital expenditures needed for the remaining church property over time, and the relief from future expenses and staff effort to maintain the house. On the negative side, we will lose control over the property, and the church house will likely be demolished and replaced with a large new home, a scenario which is occurring all over St. Armands. After much investigation, we don't see any likely residential church use for the house in the future, and we don't see any likelihood that we could obtain a variance for non-residential use of the site. For these reasons, and to avoid placing the full burden of future capital requirements of the church on the congregation, the recommendation from the Finance Committee and the Congregation Council is that 25 North Washington should be put up for sale.
This video covered a lot of information. The council began work last year to review the church's current successes, understand the operating budget forecast, understand the capital reserves needed to maintain our facilities, and delve deeply into the best recommendation for the church house. For many of you watching this video, you're only beginning to contemplate what all this means for the future of St. Armands Key Lutheran Church. We'll conduct several question and answer sessions, both in person and on Zoom, leading up to the special meeting of the congregation on June 9th. We wish for you all to be well-informed and confident when you attend the meeting. In summary, you will be asked to vote in support of a motion to organize the Stewardship Committee and bring back a stewardship campaign, work in collaboration with the St. Armands Key Lutheran Church Foundation to promote legacy giving, create a church capital fund to provide for the long-term maintenance and repair needs of the church campus, and to sell the church house to provide initial funding into the church capital fund. The full text of the motion is included in the announcement letter for the June 9th meeting. I ask you all to reflect, ask questions, and pray for guidance in preparation for this important meeting. Thank you.
Well, it's me again. Thank you for sticking with it and watching all these videos presented by an incredible group of leaders at St. Armands Key Lutheran Church. They've given you a lot of details, and in the printed materials, there is an incredible amount of data that we've gathered together, and we gathered it together for two particular reasons. The first one was that the task force and the council wanted as much information on hand so that we could make an informed decision, an informed recommendation to you, the congregation. But we also wanted all that information and all that data to be available for you so that you could make an informed decision based not just on gut reaction or opinion, but on the facts that are out there. As your pastor, I can't tell you how to vote or what decision to come to, but I can, as your pastor, ask this of you. Engage with the data. Do a deep dive. Do it with an open mind and an open heart. Do it prayerfully and carefully and with great love. Even if you begin this process with a strong opinion, all the more reason for you to do that deep dive into the information that has been gathered. You may find that your initial position has been reinforced and reaffirmed. Or it may be that having prayerfully considered all the information that's available to you, you may have changed your mind. Both of those things are wonderful, and I commend you for engaging, for diving deep, for watching these videos, and for prayerfully considering the best steps to be taken in the interests of the long-term future of this absolutely incredible congregation.